What's up, guys? Here are my predictions for UFC Fight Night happening in Chile this weekend, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not the greatest card, especially with names, but again, this can really be worth watching. There's a few good matchups on here. We're gonna start with Vicente Luque versus Laprise, and this is a really good fight. Two finishers in the UFC. Vicente Luque is coming off a win against Nico Price, a submission win. Now that's an impressive win. Price was on a roll before that, and then Laprise coming off a 3 knockout win streak right now. So we got two finishers, two strikers primarily, although they are well-rounded. They have the grappling, they have the wrestling, but I see this fight being a stand-up exchanging fight. Vicente Luque is more of a Muay Thai style of a striker than anything, but he's really good with his hands though. He's really good at seeking out the counter left, really good with the check left hooks, and he has excellent jabs, and he's really good at setting things up off the jab, but he's a power puncher more than anything. He has great kicks as well, powerful kicks. I would say Laprise has more dynamic or variety in kicks, but Vicente Luque is very straightforward in the way he fights, and he has a very good guard. It's really hard to get around his guard, get him while he's blocking. He's one of the rare guys with that kind of old style guard game, where Laprise doesn't really have that as much. Actually, a lot of the more modern MMA fighters, they've kind of went away from the whole blocking thing. You'll see that also with Dominic Reyes when I talk about him, but Vicente Luque is also really good on the ground. I think he's a better grappler overall than Laprise, but I don't think he'll be able to take down Laprise, and I don't think Laprise is going to want to take down Vicente Luque, so that tells me it's going to be a striking fight. He could go for takedowns. He could try to surprise Laprise with some of that stuff, but I just see him trying to catch him, especially with counter shots, because Laprise is more of a volume puncher, right? And he can break through some of those shots with his power punches. And Laprise, I think, is a better boxer, though. He has way faster hands, and he sets things up really well. He'll throw 4, 5, 6, 7 strike combinations, and he'll throw kicks in the middle of them, kicks at the end of them. He usually does end them with the kicks though, but everything is tight with him. But I think the main thing about this fight is who's going to be the one pressuring, because Laprise, he will move around a lot, and I think they'll give Vicente Luque opportunities to pressure Laprise backwards, and it's going to be hard to do anything to Luque when he does that. Like I said, he has a very good blocking game, and I think the volume punches of Laprise might leave himself a little bit too open for the counter shots of Luque. Luque on the back foot is going to be a problem for him even more so, because he gets a little bit predictable when he's on his back foot. He gets almost desperate for that big shot sometimes. I think a guy like Laprise, with the movement he has, I think he'll be able to get in and out of those. But my prediction for the fight, I'm going to go with Vicente Luque. I would say Luque has a better chin as well, and I think it's going to play a part, and I think he's going to be able to stalk and walk down Laprise and catch him with a intercepting or a counter shot. And I see that happening potentially in the second round. So then we go to Jerrick Cannonier versus Dominic Reyes, and this is, I think, the best fight in the entire card. I think it's going to be, if not the fight of the night, it's going to be a performance of the night. I don't see this going the distance. You got Jerrick Cannonier, who's primarily a boxer. Very strong, though, very powerful. He's fast for this division. He just recently went to light heavyweight, and his last fight he lost to Jan Blachowicz, so that's not a good look, especially the way it went down. He couldn't land those big shots. He couldn't land those looping punches that he always looks for, and I see that's the only path for him to catch Reyes, because Reyes leaves his chin up like many long fighters in the UFC. Tries to post and use his reach to get away from things. And we've seen plenty of times guys who do that, they get caught over the top from the shorter fighters. They usually get caught with the overhands, right? And that's what Jerrick Cannonier's best weapons are. And the thing about Cannonier is he can cover so much distance with those. The guy can really move and explode when he decides to. I have that image in my mind. I see him catching Reyes with those, but it's just a feeling of mine. But the thing about Reyes is he's much more well-rounded. He has a long punching game, long kicks as well. But the thing that worries me about the kicks are he doesn't set them up that much, and he just winds up. He can get caught. I can see an overhand catching him off that. And the thing about Reyes' defense is he's got caught before. Both of his fights in the UFC, he got caught for leaving his chin up and moving away from shots. And a guy like Jerrick Cannonier will put him out if that happens. But the thing that makes me think Dominic Reyes is probably going to win this is Cannonier is much easier to game plan for. He's much more one-dimensional. So he knows what to do against Cannonier. So I don't think he's going to do what he usually does, try to punch from the outside, try to exchange on the feet like he's done in the previous fights. Dominic Reyes, although he is a pretty good striker, he has an immensely effective grappling game. He has excellent single legs, he has excellent trips in the clinch, he's strong in that department as well, and I don't think Cannonier is going to be able to stop his shots. Jan Blachowicz was able to take down Cannonier pretty easily as well. And if it goes to the ground, I see Reyes doing whatever he wants. So I'm going to go with Dominic Reyes. I'm going to go by a second round submission. And then we go to the co-main event, Alexa Grasso versus Tatyana Suarez. Now, this might be the most one-sided fight in the entire card. The main event could be as well, but Alexa Grasso is more of a boxer than anything, although she is pretty well-rounded, but she doesn't have anything about her that's just super impressive. You know, she puts on a high pace, she has high output, she's great pushing the opponent backwards with her boxing, but she doesn't do a whole lot else. Her kicks are pretty unflexible, and if she throws any kicks, she's going to get taken down and controlled easily. Tatyana Suarez is by far, I think, the best wrestler in this division. Not only credentially, I mean, she was training for the 2012 Olympics, but she got injured, but the way her wrestling translated into MMA just proves how effective she can be with it. She's only had 6 fights in MMA, but man, is her wrestling hard to deal with. She's very powerful. She's very aggressive too. I don't think Grasso's going to have power to put down or put Tatyana Suarez on alert. So I think she's going to come right through, use her jabs. She has a pretty high output with her punches as well. But the difference is she has a high output with her takedowns. I mean, her takedown average, it's even higher than her punching output. And her punching output is high. You know, she's good with sending things off the jab. She's good with her long punches. She has long arms too, able to reach around pretty easily. And her double legs and single legs are so powerful. She blasts through opponents. And on the ground, I don't think Grasso will be able to do anything to her. So my prediction of the fight, I'm going to go with a first or second round submission. I think Tatyana Suarez is going to pretty much dominate this fight. Then we go to the main event, Demian Maia versus Kamaru Usman. Now this is a high profile fight. The winner of this goes up in the rankings, but for Kamaru Usman, he gets like 1 or 2 more fights for a title shot, I believe. The change of opponents for him is much more beneficial, and the matchup, the stylistic matchup, is much better for him as well. Demian Maia is a BJJ fighter. They're both actually primary grapplers, but Demian Maia has a very aggressive BJJ top-heavy game. And if he gets on top of Kamaru Usman, I think that's the only place he's going to put him in any threat. But the way he tries to get to that is he has this very long stance in the beginning. In the first round, he's kind of hard to throw it off because of output and the pace he puts on right away. And this also goes into him gassing out. But he loves to feint. He loves to fake jabs at the opponent, get him backing up just slowly. He's not trying to land anything, but he's trying to get you close to the cage because his shots in the middle of the cage are not that effective. He's good with shooting, but he's not good with carrying through and trying to get them down afterward. He gets on his knees a little bit too much. You want to stay off your knees as much as possible when you're shooting in on the opponent. But that's why he tries to get to the cage so he can work from there. He's really good at trips, and he has a really good single leg there. None of this, I think, is going to work against Kamaru Usman. None of it. Kamaru Usman is one of the strongest guys in this division. He's one of the best wrestlers in this division. You might even argue he is the best wrestler in this division. It's going to be very hard to get him back there. And Kamaru Usman puts on a higher pace. And not only does he put on a higher pace, he has much better cardio. This is not a good fight for Demian Maia. But the thing is, Demian Maia may not be able to take down Kamaru Usman, but he can pull guard on him. He can pull him into half guard. He can pull him even onto full mount on top of him. Now that's risky. You do not want Kamaru Usman in full mount on top of you. The only guy that could recommend doing that is Demian Maia. That's going to be interesting. Is he going to pull him on top of him? Because from there, Demian Maia is very good at shrimping. He's really good at getting through the back door. He's really good with just reversing the position. I don't think he's going to be able to do that, though, with Kamaru Usman. I think Kamaru Usman is too strong of a base, and his ground and pound is going to be absolutely vicious here. And on the feet, Usman's longer than him. He has better striking overall. His boxing's way better. He has more power. He's faster on the feet. He's good with keeping the distance on opponents. My prediction for the fight, I'm going to go with Kamaru Usman. I'm going to go by a 3rd round TKO. I think the finishing touch in this fight is going to be the cardio. I think in the first round, maybe halfway through the second round, I see it being kind of even in a way. I see not too much going on. I see Usman trying to find the shots, but Maia just shooting in under them every time, but just getting stuffed every time. Eventually gassing out Maia to him eventually getting hurt on the feet and then ground and pounded. So, those are my predictions, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed my content, make sure to subscribe. Leave a comment below what your guys' predictions are. Who you guys think are going to win and why. Specifically with that main event and the Jerrick Cannonier versus Dominic Reyes fight. Because Dominic Reyes is a big prospect in this light heavyweight division. He's a much needed prospect. And I think it's going to be the best fight of the card, too. And for my next video, I'm going to make a technique video regarding hooks and the different forms and how they work and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to come up probably by tomorrow or Saturday. So be on the lookout for that as well. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.